This is Making It. Stories of success and achievement, inspiration and survival. Hosted by Mark and Paul Kinney and sponsored by More Financial Strategies, helping you make it through life. And now, here's Mark and Paul.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Making It. Today, it's Making It in the NBA, talking with Bill Cartwright.
Oh my God, I remember when I got drafted. Go ahead, Paul.
Drafted? I remember you playing on Mark Mitchell's garage, the driveway. That seemed to be our place for playing basketball.
It was.
Wasn't it?
Yep.
But Bill's dream came true. He got to play in the NBA. He's a friend of a friend of mine. And we're glad to have him on the show today and today's episode of Making It. So let's jump right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
So a little bit of a setup. Bill went to high school in Elk Grove, which is a suburb of Sacramento, which is where I'm from. Good friend of Bill Bell's, and he's a friend of mine. So that's the connection. So when you hear him talking about Elk Grove, you get a sense of where we're at. We're in a suburb of Sacramento.
And the number of people that really make it into the NBA is just a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage. So
really
he's
is.
Fortunate that he did.
And he got to play with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan on the
Scottie, Mike, Dennis. Yeah,
good friends of yours.
Good friends of mine. I can relate.
Yeah, on the world champion Chicago Bulls. So that's the background of today's show, and we're happy to have Bill on the show with us today.
But I went to Elk Grove. We had a really good coach with Dan Risley, very demanding coach, but we had good players. When I was a sophomore, we had this kid by the name of Mike Solis, who was a real tough Hispanic kid, and he really set the tone for our team. And then after he graduated, played with Terry Salford, who was almost as tall as I was. He was about 6'8", and Kyle Bartles and Phil Mann, they were both 6'5", and Mike Pinkerton, who's like 6 foot tall. So our starting lineup when I was a junior, we were as big as any college team. And of course, your guy, Bill Bell, who was going off the bench.
Yeah, granted, he's the weak link. I understand that.
Yeah, but he played great. He was a great athlete, played well for us. And that year, we went 30-0. And we played at a really high level. We're a big team, so.
It was hard to compete.
Yeah, and we had guys who could play, and we were a really good team, and we played hard as heck. We did have some foes here in town with Grant and, of course, with Jesuit High School. When we were seniors, I'll tell you the story real quick about Jesuit High School. And their starting center was this guy, Mike Lean, who still lives here in Sacramento, great guy. We were in one bracket at the end of the year. They were in another bracket. And we had 1 week to prepare for the Tournaments of Champions here in Sacramento. The winner would go on to Oakland for the Northern California Championship. So we, at Oak Grove, we just went down and practiced hard as heck, and our coach tortured us appropriately. Where Jesuit High School went over, and they practiced all week versus American River Junior College running our offense to stop me, basically.
Really?
But
give them credit for the thinking it.
This strategery.
Okay, so they lost their first game.
So they didn't have to play you.
So they never got to us. So we were in the locker room. We were laughing. They were prepared for us for the championship game.
They were thinking a little too far ahead.
Not thinking their opponent is preparing for them all week. So they got beat. I still give Mike a really bad time about that. It's like,
when did you're growing up, obviously you're a big kid. You probably loved basketball. When did you start thinking, I could maybe play this professionally?
Now, when I was a kid, I loved to play baseball. That's what I wanted to do. As a baseball player, as a pitcher.
Really?
Yeah. I played by far more baseball than basketball when I was younger. But I loved all sports. I played baseball, played football, and played basketball. So I stopped playing baseball my sophomore year and just started playing. Actually, I was playing football, and I broke a bone in my right shoulder, which amazingly enough really helped my basketball game.
Really?
Yeah, because for 6 months, I shot left-handed. And before that, I never had a left hand. But after that 6 months, my left was probably better than my right. So that really helped my game.
Were you scouted? Did you know you were being scouted?
Yeah, but that came further down the line. Look, I wasn't really thinking NBA. When I came out of Elk Grove, I was, like 6'11", but I was like 215 pounds. So I was like a stick. So even though, we had a lot of success and we won Northern California Championship when I was a senior and there was all that hype, I've always known there was guys who were bigger, faster, stronger than I was. So I knew I would have to work, and I knew that if I was headed to the NBA, I'd have to work my ass off and be really fortunate. So we had high caliber players at USF and highly competitive guys. So our practice sessions were no joke. We got in there, you got after it. Either that or you got killed. So when I was a sophomore, we were the number one team in the country. Unfortunately, we lost at the end of the year. And we could never figure this out, how a team that's the number one ranked team in the country, we get Nevada, Las Vegas in the first round. Are you kidding me? Those guys were good, man. And we thought we could score. Those guys could really score. So we got beat, and that was it. So we finished the year 29-2.
UNLV.
They were really good. So I was just really fortunate to play with guys who are really competitive. I learned a lot about basketball from my coach. And you learn subtle things like, I remember one practice, he's telling me, "Hey, Bill, I know you play really hard. Now we're going to teach you how to play smart. And I want you to think about what's your opponent thinking about. When you're in high school, you can pretty much do what you want. But when you're at college, you want to be trickier. And you want to have some thought and perspective about what you're going to do on the floor. So there's a reason why you do what you do other than react. There's a reason why you attack somebody a certain way. There's a reason why you guard somebody a certain way. So that the game really makes sense to you. And I've always really carried that. And it gives you a really clear picture of every single spot on that court, what you're going to do. So if somebody's throwing you the ball, you know before you get it what you're going to do.
Were you the kind of kid who would be out there after school just shooting and playing basketball?
Yeah, it's funny, but we played basketball all the time. We would play some horse. Then we'd play one-on-one. If somebody else showed up, we'd play 2-on-2. But we played, man, and it was like we played all day.
But your parents didn't drive you, did they? Were they saying you need to do this? I think it would seem today that a lot of parents are trying to live through their kids, and they're in high school thinking about, oh, you're going to be in the NBA, versus you just wanted to go out. You're a kid. You're having fun.
Well, that's what was going on at the time. And, there was no AAU. There was no program to throw kids in. Maybe if there was, parents would have done that. But for one thing, we'd have the money to do that. So I don't know where these kids get money now, but they do. We played not only with kids our age, we always play with older kids. Always. So it was great because you could really learn something. The older guys, you are really doing something. So you come home, yeah, I got it. And got that dude today. That dude's like 3 years older than me. We got him.
Well, you were probably the only one on the court 7 foot at that point, though, right?
Well, no, there's big kids. There was, like 6'8", 6'9", or people use whatever they have to their advantage, whether it was their speed. And some guys you ran into were like 6'4". They're no joke. They're strong as a horse. So you had to be able to adapt yourself to their game.
When you transitioned from college to NBA, did you see it coming? Could you prepare for that?
Well, look, my junior year, I lost 2 of my teammates to the NBA. James and Winford both left. Winford went to Dallas, and James went to New Orleans. And I did have a chance to talk to Don Nelson, who wanted to talk to me because they were, if I was coming out, they were considering drafting me. So that's probably the real first time I thought about, wow, be in the NBA, play against these guys. So that I was really focused on it or really thought about it. I really enjoyed being in school. I liked it.
So you graduated from USF.
Yeah, sociology degree.
Okay, and had they approached you and really kind of dangled the carrot, were you committed to saying, I need to get my degree? Was that ever brought to you?
Well, I wanted to get my degree. The main thing is that I didn't feel that after my junior year I was ready to play in the NBA. But after my senior year, I knew I was because I was bigger, I was stronger. I could run into a wall. It wasn't going to bother me. So I was really ready.
And knowing that you could always fall back on your degree if for whatever reason, and because aren't there kids today, freshmen and sophomores, they're leaving school, they're going right into the NBA.
Well, today's a different beast. And let's be clear about that.
Is it better?
Well, look, the situations are different where even now, if a kid's in school, if he doesn't like it, he transfers. So that's a big problem. But it's trendy. And also, if you could play, and I mean if you could play at all, you're supposed to leave. And I know there's a lot of complaining about it, but it's almost, if you don't leave, it's almost like you don't think you can play. And you could be a first-round pick and make anywhere from $1.5 million to $3 million. Who in the world is going to turn that down? What, am I going to wait a couple years?
And maybe get injured, right?
So, look, I'm all for education, but you can always go back and get that. I don't know if you can go back and recover $3 million.
Or the years.
Exactly. So, to me, college is for your future. It's setting you up for your future. It's like a musician. It's like an artist. If you're ready to show your work and somebody's going to pay you for it, you better get it while it's there because it may not be there tomorrow.
So you were drafted
Third.
first round. Who was before? Who were the two guys before you? Do you remember?
Well, you tell me. I remember. One guy you're going to know.
Oh, Magic.
Magic Johnson, yes.
Oh, wow. You're in pretty good company.
Yeah, so Magic Johnson and David Greenwood, and then myself.
Then you.
I love what Bill said. If you are ready to show your work to the world as an artist, you're ready.
22 years old. He's like Chuck Smith, our helicopter pilot from a few shows back. 19, 20 years old, going to Vietnam. A lot of responsibility. 22 years old, going to New York City to play professional basketball.
Probably just learning
Oh
to
my
shave.
gosh.
I think I was learning to shave at 20. I think I still had the paper route at 22. I'm kidding. But you think about
21,
life. Yeah,
21.
Yeah, there you go. So you think about life and you say, how do I plan for things? What do I do? Everybody has a rear view mirror, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I should have made this decision. Wish I had done this differently. And we hear that a lot more. People coming in going, gosh darn, I wish I was 20 again. I was 25. Look, we all have, I say, take the rear view mirror down. Let's deal with today. Where are we today? I can't change. You can't. Nobody can change the past, right? We have regret, yes. But let's, as you had said, let's be inspired. Let's move. Let's be motivated. Let's change the future. And we can help people do that. It's not too late. That's the bottom line.
What was that? You said take the rear view mirror down.
Take
You actually say that?
I have a rear view mirror in the office.
No, you don't.
That I go up to the wall and I just take it down. You don't think I do?
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't. That's a good idea, though. I'm going to do that. Paul, I'm going to do that. You see how the show inspires even us doing the show.
Go to a junkyard and get a rear view mirror, and people are going to say, why do you have a rear view mirror on you?
I'm going to do
You
it.
should. That's a great idea.
And it's going to be right next to the rim.
Yes,
that I can go up and over the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, the rim. Give Mark a call if you'd like, 296-4464. 296-4464, more financial.
And we will give you a $25 gift certificate if you can identify the vehicle and the make and the model of the rear view mirror that it came out of. How about that?
Wow, that's
Isn't
pretty
that,
good.
There's that challenge. I'm throwing the gauntlet down. There it is.
Morefs.com. Again, the phone number 296-4464.
That's a great idea.
That is a great idea. That's right. So let's continue now with Bill Cartwright and making it in the NBA.
What was that feeling like when they called your name?
Were you home?
I was in New York
Okay.
for the draft. I was there at the draft. So, for me, it was just a process.
Because you're 22 years old, right?
Yeah, but I'm
Pretty mature 22-year-old.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm 61. I don't know if I'm mature yet. So, but I was ready for the experience to be able to get out, and I'm like at the draft. Okay, I got drafted. I got drafted by the Knicks. Wow, that's pretty big. So now I'm
And you're going to New York.
I'm going to New York City. So even though I felt like I was ready, I've never been in New York. All I know is they have some big damn buildings here and really big, and there's a ton of them, and there's a ton of people. And
that is a vicious sports market.
it's going to test your character
Yeah.
and find out who you are.
What was your first game like? I mean, Madison Square Gardens, right?
Well, think about this. Training camps were a lot different. Training camp was double days for a month. And it's not like it is now where the guys are so much smarter now where, you can have one hard practice and then the next practice has got to be a teaching session. Then it was 2 hard practices for a month. And you're staying at the Days Inn. So there's no Ritz.
The Days Inn.
The Days Inn.
They have a free breakfast buffet there
no,
at least?
nothing free.
Oh, my goodness.
I think our per diem a day was like $18. So, and I still remember eating at Denny's.
The Grand Slam.
Superbird. The Superbird special.
Superbird special.
And don't get me wrong, it was
It was
awesome.
good.
Yeah, it was really good.
What city was this in?
Jersey, in South Jersey.
Okay.
So down by Neptune. So, it was fine. It was fine. As a kid, nothing bothered me. So,
Now, you don't have to give us numbers, but if you want to, you can. Was there a signing bonus? Did you get a signing bonus? Or whatever? What happened back then?
my first year, that was a lot of money back then in 1979.
Right.
Where I can't remember what the signing bonus was, but that year I think I made either 90 or 100 grand. I thought
I would have thought it would have been more than that.
Not back then.
Yeah.
I was really happy. I think the guy that was making the most money on our team was Marvin Webster, who had a monster contract, and he was making about $600 a year. That was unheard of.
Fast forward to today,
That'd
be a slap in the face.
Right now.
That's a game.
It's a great time to be an athlete right now. But you know what?
It was all relative. You didn't know. We didn't know today.
Well, no. It was great. For the time, it was great. There's no complaints because the guys before me got a hell of a lot less.
Did you save some of that money?
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay,
Let me
go
put
ahead.
it this way. At what point did you, as a professional athlete, start thinking beyond just I'm making money and living day to day, but thinking ahead? Was that happening back then?
For some guys. But look, you got to look at it this way. As an athlete or as a business person, you have to be able to compete at a certain level. You can't do both. You can't be an athlete and then run a business unless you have a partner that you absolutely trust. So what was normal then? Normal then was you signed a contract. A lot of guys had agents. Some guys had brokers. and you invest your money. My first agent was Bob Wolf, who was Larry Bird's agent. Great guy. So you have your contract, you have a shoe contract, and some guys had different endorsements, but it wasn't huge at that time. That's not what the NBA was all about. So between your contract and your shoe contract, that was going to really support you and your family. Now, for me, when I was a freshman, I was really paranoid, but I was thinking about what am I going to do after I get done playing? So I did formulate a plan, but I don't think that's the norm for a lot of guys. Remember, just like football, our average life of an NBA player is less than 3 years.
And
You played 16.
yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
That's
You're not average.
Yeah, but
That's
you don't know
amazing.
that.
You don't?
You don't know that. You know, I played with Toby Knight. Toby went to Notre Dame. Toby was one of the first, like, really big threes, like 6'9" 3-man. So my second year in, he went up for a rebound by himself, came down, turned, and tore up his knee. So his career is pretty much done. So you just never really know what's going to happen to you. The only thing that you know is that you have a contract, and you better be, or at least try to be careful with whatever you're making now.
So how long was your contract with the Knicks was for how long initially?
6 years.
Okay.
6-year contract. You know, Sonny Warbler was the owner. My first coach was Red Holzman. So it was really kind of the old regime until that new one came in, and they were in just a transitional period. Throughout the 9 years I was in New York, I had 5 coaches, and I probably had 6 general managers.
Now, what does a general manager do? When I think of a general manager, I just think it's a guy. He's looking at the books. Is he the one that's ultimately picks the players? Give us kind of behind the scenes.
Yes, he selects the players. He sets the team. He sets the table. He's the guy responsible for the team, and he's the guy responsible for hiring the coach. So ultimately, he decides who's going to be on the floor, what direction the team's going to go into, what the team's future is going to be. And a lot of times, just the guys that we have weren't reflective of the kind of team that you need that reflects New York.
So when you look at the Golden State Warriors today, would you say most of the credit goes to the general manager because what a dominant team. I look at Steve Kerr, great, but does the general manager should be receiving most of the credit for where they are today, would you say?
I would say yes, and I would say that because the Golden State Warriors, just like every team, reflects that city. And who's Golden State? They're an up-tempo team. They're a high-flying, exciting team. They score, and that's exactly who they are. That's who the Lakers are. That's who the Clippers are. That's who the Denver Nuggets are. Who are the New York Knicks? Who's the Pistons? Who's Philly? Who's Chicago? Well, we're defensive teams. First, that's what we do. We got to be able to guard if you're going to be on those teams. So if your team has no identity, which ours did not throughout the entire 9 years I was in Chicago.
They didn't have an identity?
None.
In Chicago or New York?
I'm sorry, in New York.
New York, okay.
Was that frustrating?
You know, it's something to ponder now, like who you are. But you have to have an identity to your team, to who you are.
A culture.
Yeah, and that culture should reflect this city.
So when you went from the Knicks to the Bulls, was it a tangible difference in what you just said? Did you feel like, wow, now I'm with a team that really has an identity?
Yeah, we really did. We had stars. We had an identity of being able to guard. If you couldn't guard your guy individually, you probably weren't going to play a lot. So that's really why I ended up in Chicago, is that I could guard my guy. A lot of times they were like, yeah, leave Bill down there. He's got him. That's what Phil would say, yeah. Bill, yeah, lead
So
him down
Phil,
there,
Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
That's what Phil Jackson
Exactly.
would say. Okay.
So, which was funny to the team, but it wasn't funny to me. Give me a little help.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Patrick Ewing comes to New York.
Yes.
You become second string?
Well, at first we ended up playing together, and then that wasn't that popular, so then I ended up on the bench. I mean, that was a real tough time for me, and I was able to keep that in perspective because, look, I've been a starter my whole life. I was ready to play every game. I was focused. So you go from that to not playing at all. So as an athlete, you have a decision to make because, look, there's nobody to monitor me.
Right.
I could have set my ass on the bench and not worked very hard, and that would have been fine with everybody. But you really had to do a lot of things yourself to keep yourself ready. And what was interesting is that my last year, and I wasn't playing hardly at all, and we ended up playing against Indiana in the first round of the playoffs, and we got beat that first game bad, and the series was only 2 out of 3. So that next game, I ended up starting. And I'm like, wow, okay, now you need me. So, but because I had worked, people could see that, I could still play. I could still move. I was still excited. I got traded to Chicago.
And when you went to Chicago, you went as the starter?
Yes.
How interesting.
And what was even more interesting is that during that transition period, I got traded for Charles Oakley, which for some of our guys wasn't really too popular in Chicago because Oak was a popular guy there and a good player. Who do we play in the first round of the playoffs? New York Knicks. So we ended up going in there and whipping them, so that was kind of nice.
That must have felt good.
Yeah,
I mean, going to a team with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. That's
Yeah, but you go there. Now, Michael was great, and Scotty was on his way, but they were not even close to what they ended up being. When I got to Chicago in 1988, Scottie Pippen couldn't make a 15-foot jump shot. You got to give him credit that he worked his butt off to become the player that he was. He ended up his career being a three-point shooter, and Horace Grant, by 3 years later was 15 to 20 pounds heavier because he worked during the summertime, putting some muscle on his frame. So those guys were right at the beginning of their career.
Our guest today on Making It is Bill Cartwright, legendary basketball player. Similar to you.
I can relate.
Yeah, you can relate. One thing that he said, I wrote down, I thought this was very interesting. You don't know what's going to happen to you.
In life, we don't know what's going to happen to you.
I know. I mean, you think about that as a professional athlete.
You get injured after 1 year, your whole life, You're focused, I'm going to make it. Like Bill, I've been playing 16 years. Well, he didn't know from year to year if this might be his last year.
Yeah.
And
what do you say? Most guys, less than 3 years.
Less than 3 years. So he is here's that word again, an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah, an anomaly.
Yeah.
But he did say this, you can't run a business and be a professional athlete at the same time. It's just very difficult to do that. And so at More Financial, is this where my shameless plug?
Well, let's call this our Making It Through Life segment, if you'd like.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. So at More Financial, many people come to us because they realize they've had the epiphany that they need a coach. They need somebody that can oversee what they're doing so that they can be released to go out and do what they're best at doing. So financial planning is not a DIY, a do-it-yourself project. You need somebody. As an example, if you think about basketball, you're in the first quarter. That's maybe when you're in your 30s. And you're saying, how do I set up a plan? What instruments do I need to purchase?
So what advice do you give
Well, there you
people?
go. Yeah, I'll tell you, a young person today, if you feel and sense that taxes are on sale, let's pay the tax and get it over with and deposit those funds into something that's going to grow. Cash value life insurance. Listen, I know people that they're now screaming down the street. There he's trying to pitch. Well, do the research. Come in and see us. We'll show you the benefits of owning permanent cash value life insurance.
I'm a good example.
Today.
I've got cash value and I've got term because they both serve a different purpose.
They do.
And I will tell you this, the cash value is what saved my butt, in 2008.
The policies that we have had in place through that period never retreated. They never went backwards. They always grew. And so, as I said on another show, products are not good or bad, and people like to, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, cash value life insurance, it's a horrible thing. No, they're either appropriate or they are not appropriate. Let me give you an example. We have people come in, we teach them cash value life insurance, the good, the bad, the ugly. And many people at the end, their arms are crossed in the beginning. At the end, they're all excited. And we get to the point where I will ask them, well, how's your health? And this look of dismay comes over their face. Oh, I've just had cancer. I had triple bypass surgery 2 years ago. They want to buy the product. Their health precludes them from doing so. Isn't that interesting? It's health that buys life insurance. Yes, you have to have the funds, but if you don't have the health, it doesn't matter how much money you have. So we educate people why you want to own permanent life insurance, why you want to have a position in the markets, and why you want to have an income for life annuity. Those 3 items should be in your portfolio.
Now, you're going to have people screaming on that, too.
You are. Oh, those nasty insurance companies. No. They're the ones that saved our economy in 2008, 2009. It was the insurance companies. It wasn't the banks. Understand this. Don't listen to everything you read or you hear. Come in and get the knowledge firsthand.
If you'd like to talk to Mark, give him a call, 296-4464, 296-4464. That's your shameless plug.
It is. I love it.
More Financial, morefs.com is the website. But it's time to get back to our show. And Bill Cartwright, NBA great, and talking about what it's like to make it in the NBA.
Want me to show you how I dribble around here? Okay.
No. Weren't you impressed when he walked in and how tall he was?
Yeah, he's still 7 foot. Yes, I was. Again, I can relate.
One of the things that I've heard people say, professional athletes, the main difference between the professional athlete and, let's say, collegiate is the mindset. They have the mindset to do what it takes to win every time. Is that fair?
Well, what you understand as an athlete is that you want to be able to be in a position to win each game. When we were really good, which was most of the 90s, those games with 5 minutes left to go in the game, it was usually 4 or 5 points either way. But those games, we won all those games. So, because we're in a position to win them. So, to me, that's what it's all about. Those last 4 or 5 minutes, that's our time where we take the game over.
When you transition from player to coach, is that one of the things that you tried to instill in guys?
Yeah, because there's the difference between winning and losing is very small. It could be a turnover. It could be great hustle.
A free throw.
It could be, hopefully it doesn't come down to a free throw.
Were you ever in that position where you were on the line, or were you a guy that people said, "Go, let's foul Bill because we know he's not"? Were you a good free throw shooter?
Yeah, well, you got my stats right.
I think he was.
So,
how many people have a Wikipedia page? That's what I want to know.
But to me, that's that's little kid stuff. I mean, everybody lives for last of the night, 2 away, bases loaded, you're like 150 in, and you know what club you're gonna grab. You're gonna put it like close to the flag, or last shot of the game. Come on, that's little kid stuff. Everybody's ready for that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we all do on the playground.
Yeah, that's what you do.
At the buzzer!
Exactly.
All net!
So, just to be in that situation, for me, I really love that end of the game situation.
Did you enjoy coaching as much as you enjoyed playing? I know it's different.
It's different. Now, look, everybody would rather play because all you're doing is focusing on yourself. getting yourself ready, prepping yourself. And for the most part, you're younger, you're feeling good, you look good, your hair's not gray. Come on, you feel great. So yeah, everybody wants to be a player, but the coaching I really liked because it was a great lesson. You know, when I went to the Bulls, I was very fortunate that Jerry Krause called me up after I finished grad school at USF and asked me if I wanted to coach. I said, I don't know. I know there's guys there who are ahead of me, and I'm not going to step ahead of those guys.
How long were you out of the game before you came back in and coaching?
A year.
Okay, so not long.
1 year. Yeah. I went to grad school. I was having a great time. I was here. I was coaching my kids' team. I was finishing grad school. I was hitting golf balls every other day. So Jerry called me back and said, no, I took care of those guys. I want you to come. And I kind of viewed that as being a sign for me that maybe that's what I should be doing, even though I had some other plans for myself. I've always felt that I was I wanted to be in some kind of service industry, whether it was restaurant, whether it was fast foods, whether it was car. I thought about daycare. I thought about opening a hair salon. In that area, I felt like I could really compete. So after I got done playing with Seattle my last year, I was all set. Boom. What was I going to do? McDonald's operator.
Hamburger you were ready.
Yeah, that's where I was headed. And had some great meetings. I was all set. Got a phone call. Done with that. I'm off the coach.
Did you ever go back to it?
No, what I did do was through just fate and meeting people, I ended up buying a restaurant in Chicago. Interesting enough, it's a French restaurant.
You still have it?
Yeah, it's called Froggy's. It's in Highwood, Illinois. You're welcome to come down. It's a French restaurant. I know, it's like people are like looking at me like, yeah, a black guy, French restaurant doesn't make sense.
7'1",
7'1" black
tall
guy.
black guy in a French restaurant.
Was it fairly easy then transitioning from the NBA back to regular,
Like a regular
non-professional
person?
football? Well, yeah, how do
Like us.
Yeah, like us. Was it like, okay, I'm done with that. That part of my life is behind me, and I'm ready to move on.
Is it easy? No, of course not. It's, and this is interesting too, and it kind of came out a little bit this year with Kevin Love and the anxiety you feel. I didn't have that anxiety as a player, but I certainly had it after I got done playing. And it's something that a lot of players go through, and it's not really talked about a lot because, we're guys, we're macho. But I was really had this incredible feeling of anxiety. And
after playing or after coaching?
After playing.
After playing.
So if somebody is having an anxiety attack, just give them what they want because there's no reasoning with it. There's no explaining it. You just have a feeling that you have to get away. And a lot of guys have that. I've had that. And luckily for me, my wife was there with me. And
what brings it on?
It's just a strong sense that there's something wrong. And there's no explanation for it.
What do you think?
Hanging up your sneakers for the last time.
It's for me, it was just this feeling that something's really wrong. And when that happens, and I never thought that could happen to me. Yeah, you're a macho guy. You can't handle anything.
Yeah.
No, you can't handle it. It's serious.
So what did you do?
Well, I was medicated for about a year.
You never hear anybody talk about that.
No.
Professional athletes coming.
No. Well, it came out this year with Kevin Love because it's really a debilitating thing. There's nothing you can do about it. Zero. But I know that a lot of guys, and because I've had my own teammates drive themselves to the hospital because they're like
Something's wrong.
Something's really wrong.
Now you got yes, Mark, I have my notes. Yes, Bill, so you got hit in the throat.
I did.
Yeah, but
In the Indiana game.
Indiana Pacers game.
Yeah, and I'm still looking for the guy.
Okay, I was going to ask you, who was it?
I don't know. I'm still looking for him. You got any tape of that game?
I don't know.
I looked on YouTube. We did find you just
you
giving
tomahawking Charles Barkley on a dunk. It was beautiful.
Look, it's like I've had a gazillion collisions, so that's just the nature of the beast. And unfortunately for me, I got hit in the throat, and it really affected my voice. I'm lucky to be speaking now. I've had about 8 throat surgeries.
Seriously?
Yeah, but this is fine. It's just something that happens, and you just move past it.
Wow, what a great attitude.
So I have to ask you this. Paul and I were kidding the other day. You got your cell phone with you.
Yeah.
If I say pull up your contacts, would it be the who's who of your former players?
I don't know. Who you want?
Michael Jordan. Is he in there?
No, he's not in there. But if you need him, I can get him.
Do you stay in touch with these guys?
Bill, he doesn't need him. Trust me.
No. I mean, maybe.
Well, like I just talked to Pip, probably
Scottie
about a month
Pippen
ago.
for our
thank you.
listeners. Yeah.
Talked to Horace a while ago, and
How about Dennis?
no, there's no reason to call Dennis.
He's over in China or something.
But some guys, like Craig Hodges, my teammate Jeff Sanders.
Did you develop best friends as players, or are your best friends outside the NBA?
No, my best friends are from high school and college.
Not the NBA.
No.
Wow.
I mean, one of my best friends is here, my high school teammate, Terry Soffer. That's how we know each other, from my high school teammate, Bill Bell. But a lot of people that I still am close to, I went to high school with.
Is that true, do you think, of most professional athletes? That their world, their close world, is outside of whatever league they were in?
I think for a lot of guys have people they're just, you grew up with.
And you trust them.
Yeah, you know them.
And they see you
them.
for who you are, not the NBA.
Well, even in that, I mean, I have friends who are from college, and I say, but let's face it, we get married.
Yeah.
You have kids, cat, dog. You got bills. You got to work.
Here's my takeaway from that segment. We were talking with Bill Cartwright, NBA great, on Making It today. His question, are you in a position to win? And how many games you're in the last 4 to 5 minutes that determine whether or not you're going to win or lose. And I liken that to life.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Did I say ever? Give up. As they say, play until the buzzer. And you've seen that in sports. You've seen that in life, where people will quit when they're inches away from success. They don't know it at the time, but when they look back at that whole rear view mirror thing, wow, I'm so glad I stuck in there when it was tough during the period of time. I felt like giving up, but I didn't give up.
Yeah. If you've ever wondered if he has a tattoo, I know that's on your mind. Mark's going to ask him.
I can relate.
You don't have a tattoo.
Exactly. So there is one area I can slowly
relate. We don't know that about Bill.
Okay.
We don't know that yet, so you're going to have to find out in our last segment of Making It. Just what he's doing now. Working at USF and did a little bit of coaching. And anyway, that's in our last segment of Making It.
You're listening to Making It with Mark and Paul Kinney. We'll be back with our final segment right after this message from More Financial Strategies.
Bill said something, Paul. He said, where can I compete? And we look at what we do at More, and we ask ourselves, where can we compete? With all the choices people have as to where can they go to get financial advice, direction, counsel, we believe that it's all about the questions. You can buy products anywhere, online, call an 800 number. But what you get at More is that hands-on, white glove, family treatment. We treat you as family. We want you to become family. So you give us that opportunity. We will educate you in all the different areas where we believe you should be focused. Annuities, cash value life insurance. Do you have what we call an elder care plan, which covers long-term care coverage? Look, these are the things when you said, I do at the altar, that you subconsciously said, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer. We understand that. We will help you do the things that you on your own, left to yourself, would probably not do. That's our value.
If you'd like to reach Mark, give him a call at 296-4464, 296-4464. More financial strategies, morefs.com. Back to our show now, the last segment with Bill Cartwright.
Going up over the rim with Mark. Well, a little one-on-one action with Bill here, me and Bill.
We're not going over the rim with you. Making it in the NBA.
So what are you doing now? You're 61. You got the restaurant, Froggy's. Still have the car dealership? You still working in that?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What else? You play some golf?
So after the NBA, I got led to, I was doing a basketball clinic, and a guy called me up and said, Bill, this team is really struggling in Japan.
Oh, I read about that.
How would you like to go to Japan and see what you can do with this team? And I was
Japan?
Okay. Yeah, why not? Let's go check it out. So I went over to Japan, had a great time. I loved it. I was in Osaka. Great time. We were able to recover the team. Just missed the playoffs by a couple games. When I got there, the team was 5-19. We ended up turning them, won like 10 straight games. So I was living in this really small apartment. The owner moves me into the city. I got a really big apartment, like right downtown. But that was just too far. It was just too far away.
Now, were those American players over there, or were those?
I had 4 Americans. The rest were Japanese. So then after that, I came home and had another guy call me up. He said, Bill, hey, how would you like to come to Mexico and coach the Mexico national team?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's go check that out.
Let's go check it out.
So went down there. I actually went down there for about 7 months. And I'm not going to say that there was a big difference, but there was. My time in Japan was extraordinarily organized, which is who I am. Down in Mexico, it's the opposite. It's
mañana.
It is mañana. They are very late. Our first meeting was supposed to be at 5 in the afternoon, and it was 10 o'clock at night before that group showed up.
No.
And now, great people, outstanding.
They just need a watch.
Individual, but they don't get along. They need a watch, and they just don't get along. Then I came back, and I had always kept in touch with the president of the school, the AD,
Athletic
USF.
director.
I got that. Paul, thanks.
whoever was at USF, and I always enjoy going back watching them, the coach. And so I went back, and
You spend most of your time there then?
well, yeah, I work for him.
Okay.
I'm director of initiatives at
That would be the
USF.
the DI, Director of Initiatives.
And what is that? That's really an interesting job because it's a little bit development, outreach, commune with the kids, and also be able to attract and bring in other speakers to school. Steve Kerr's coming in. We have Magic at school. We have Condoleezza Rice. And also what I really like is alumni connecting, to be able to connect with our alumni. So it's been terrific. It's been 2 years. It's my 3rd year.
On a 6-year contract?
Let's hope so. That's up to Father Paul.
Hey, can you still dunk it?
I haven't tried to dunk, but I suspect.
Hold on, we have a hoop. Do we have a hoop out back,
No, we
Paul?
don't.
Oh, doggone it.
I suspect there are some days that I can still dunk it.
Do you still play?
No, that is
Even just to horse around?
maybe some half court stuff. So like,
We can't do what we used to do.
Like, I'm a big believer. You have a certain amount of jumps you're given. But this is my thing. It's not you. It's somebody who runs into you, who's in even worse shape than you are that puts you out. So that's what I'm worried about.
Trying to be a kid again.
Exactly. I'm just trying to stay out of the way.
So have you had surgery, other than the throat surgery, have you had knee surgeries or elbow?
I've had knees, surgery on my foot, a couple of surgeries there, elbow, and I've been lucky. So, but the older you get, that's just like everybody. You're going to have some problems somewhere. Something's going to happen. You're just going to have to deal with and get past.
But you're a half, the glass is half full kind of guy. That's how you are.
Well, look, my dad's 85. He's going to be 86. My mom did pass, so I got a shot.
A free throw. I got to ask you something. Hold it. Roll up your sleeves. What do you not notice about this gentleman? No tattoos.
No. Should I get some?
No. It tells me.
Tells you that I don't have any tattoos on my arms.
We'll leave it at that there.
No, I don't have any tattoos.
You're real special. And
actually, I wanted some tattoos, but then when I saw everybody else getting tattoos, I was like,
didn't Dennis get enough for everybody?
Well, but even before him, even before him, like some people get Asian tattoos.
Yeah.
And you're like, what does that say? And they're like, I don't know. I just like it. Really?
I don't know.
Really? So there's no reason for it. I just like it.
I got one last question. Does the younger generation appreciate you? The younger generation of players?
Yeah. I think so. Look, every old guy, what are they doing? They're bitching about their sport. Oh, this is not how we played it. Oh, these guys don't know how to play. And that's every single sport because the sport transitions. Baseball now, they don't pitch it. It's like point to first and they walk to first. They have, and pitchers have pitch counts. And,
right. You go 3 innings and then we bring in 6 relievers.
And football, you can't touch anybody anymore. You can't go helmet to helmet. You can't touch the quarterback. And basketball, nobody posts up anymore. You can't do it anymore. So, look, every sport evolves. So, to me, it's entertainment. You just watch it. Sometimes, for me, you shake your head. You're like, holy smokes. So, I think those things outweigh the other things. And you just watch it and enjoy it, especially for the guys. It's like when, the guys quit. No more Jake Kidd. No more Shaq. No more Steve Nash. So while those guys are here, let's just enjoy it. I'm not going to be here forever. And just be a fan. Being a fan is being a fanatic, not a lunatic. So let's just enjoy the sport. You appreciate these times because it comes back around. And then you could talk about the old days.
The good old days.
Yeah,
No, it's the good new days.
I've been a fan for 20 years, and then people start naming people. Yeah, I go way back. Lonnie Divox. They start naming names of people they knew years ago. It's crazy.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Bill, thank you. It's been an absolute delight.
Oh.
Thank you for taking
your time.
Yeah, behind the ropes here in the NBA.
No, this is great. This is great. I appreciate being here. I'm going to try to trick one of my sisters in and feed me dinner tonight. So
Good.
get that done.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks,
you.
Bill.
That's Bill Cartwright on today's episode of Making It in the NBA.
I'm a little surprised he didn't mention Pete Maravich because then I could show him a couple of dribbles and shots, and he would liken me to Pete as well.
Really? You're going to go down that road?
I can relate.
Now, I will say this. Between the two of us, you're the much better basketball player.
Well, this is true. And if I had to go one-on-one with Bill, just leave him in the dust.
But I'm a horrible basketball player, so that's not saying a lot for you. But you were definitely the better basketball player between the two of us.
Okay.
So it was a fun show. Nice to have met him and grateful for him.
What a stand-up guy.
What a stand-up
no
guy.
tattoos. That is amazing.
Absolutely. Hey, next week, you don't want to miss the show, Making It with MS. Now, that's going to sound like a downer, but it's not.
I don't want you to miss it. It's an inspiring story.
Yes, we said it together. Inspiring shows, so don't miss it. And in the meantime, if you want to get a hold of Mark, give him a call, 296-4464. 296-4464 or at More FS.
And I'll show you a couple of my inside shots, inside moves.
You've been listening to Making It with Mark and Paul Kinney, brought to you by More Financial Strategies. The information covered today is designed to provide general information on the subjects covered. It is not, however, intended to provide specific legal or tax advice. It can't be used to avoid tax penalties or to promote, market, or recommend any tax plan or arrangement. You're encouraged to consult your tax attorney or advisor. By contacting us, you may be provided information regarding the purchases of insurance products, including annuities. Guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurer. Riders may be available for additional cost. Product and features may vary from state to state. For full details on how life insurance works, including fees, expenses, and costs, contact our office at 296-4464. Mark Kinney is a financial professional licensed in the state of Arizona.